Well, hello everyone. My name is Zachary O'Shea, and this is Box of Teeth. I am personally a big fan of kind of post-apocalyptic fiction, not the usual sort of Fallout or Mad Max, though that is really fun. I really like that kind of wacky New Earth stuff, whether it's Thunder the Barbarian, or Gamma World, or The Prince of Them All, Vampire Hunter D. Read a big chunk of the novels, love the movies, have the action figure over there and a couple other lurking around the house. A few posters as well, just a big fan of it. And that's why I started writing Sur-Khet Breakers, a Meek Earth tale that's available on Kindle right now. Episode 7 just dropped, which is kind of just a side thing. I'm putting in a couple episodes of just local color, just short little bits, about 1,000, 1,500 words or so, that are kind of off. Bonus episodes have nothing to do with the main story, but color in aspects of the world that I am building within the Kindle. And I'm going to share one of those with you right now, which is the Zeitgeist. The Raider's scream abruptly ended as his arm wetly popped free of its socket. The Zeitgeist, a pallid brute responsible for the demise, hurled the spraying corpse into the central mass of bandits with enough power to bowl them over. Towering over the assembly of criminals, the hulking undead switched its meaty grip on the limb it held to use it as a club instead. Those bandits who still retained their wits scrambled to mount a meager defense. Plumes of acrid gun smoke filled the air, following a flash of black powder for some, the fall of a revolver hammer from the elevated among the gang. No matter if it was ball or bullet that struck the giant revenant, the projectiles didn't fell the Zeitgeist, nor even slow it down. Puffs of discolored salt and yellowed ash exploded from each bullet hole instead of blood. The withering fire proved anything but. However, the hail of gunfire shredded the patchwork canvas and leather duster the Zeitgeist wore. No tailor ever crafted coats for something that size. Why would they? No man ever sported shoulders better fitted to an ox, nor arms as thick as young tree trunks with hands large enough to wrap around another fellow's head. The raiders turned to their knives, swords, and axes next as the brute waded into melee. Within 2 swings, the impromptu cudgel came apart, and the pale other returned to its bare hands. In truth, the oversized extremities proved more effective, much to the disappointment of the brigands. Most of the time, 2 lone travelers on a trade road between Mockin and Underbridge would have been easy if sparse pickings for the bandits, especially with one of them being barely out of childhood years from all appearances. The outlaws usually made a quick bit of intimidation or murder, and then went back to laying in wait among the charred ruins on either side of the trade route. That was what was supposed to happen. Instead, the crooks broke under the waxen other's fury. Not that the Zeitgeist expression changed throughout the assault. His squat features remain unmoved, so very much like a repugnant marble statue sculpted by inarticulate hands. The rage flowing through each broken bone, crushed head, and pulped organ never transmitted to the other's slack features. Its blue lips never parted for breath. In fact, only its eyes moving from target to target offered any hint of the Zeitgeist's attention to its surroundings. Oh, what eyes they were too, plainly boiled to the point where only a hint of iris remained underneath the pearly surface. A handful of raiders recoiled after meeting the gaze of that dead man. That small few turned out to be the wise ones who broke from combat early, for the raiders found their various implements equally futile against the Zeitgeist. They gouged through the brute's clothing but bit a scant inch or so into the alchemy-hardened tissue. Their combined efforts only resulted in steadily climbing losses. "That's enough, Israel." The slim and living half of the duo spoke softly as the bandits routed. Caught between girl and woman, she impassively scanned the spread of broken bodies and dying men. Of course, Cleo's reanimated protector didn't respond. Instead, the pallid brute fell as still as only the dead could be. The grip she kept on the key around her neck loosened. Israel, the Zeitgeist, relaxed while blood dripped from his thick fingers to paint the ever-parched ground. "Come," she commanded. Without a word of protest or the ability to do so, the risen brute turned away from the fleeing criminals. At his core sat an ensorcelled lock where a heart once beat. Back then, he'd been little more than a sentry for their secretive village. Back then, blood flowed through his veins instead of the esoteric powders and rare salts. Not that Israel was supposed to recall one iota of his past, not even the once cherished memories of his little girl. Now merely a husk of necromantic magic, he was to follow the orphan's orders without question. Of course, there remained some drawbacks to entrusting one's safety to an indentured corpse. First and foremost was their limited perception, coupled with a lack of independent thought. Now, one might wonder why those would be an issue for this young woman and the undead brute that follows her around, go check out the episode and find out. It, along with the other chapters, are currently free on Kindavella. Again, that's Sur-Khet Breakers, S-U-R-K-H-E-T, supposed to sound like circuit breakers. You can find it along with the other horror fiction that I write that includes Grease Paint right here. It's got a killer clown. It's book 1. Book 2's cover got revealed, and it's right here, which is Psychopomps. This will be out later this summer. You can go to www.zacharyoshay.com or search for them on Amazon.com. Of course, if you're more interested in the Dungeons & Dragons content I usually have that is perfectly free and all horror themed, you can go to boxofteeth.blogspot.com. As always, I appreciate your time and your attention, but I need to go and turn the cooler and everything back on because it is really hot.